So, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Will It Be a Classic, the show where we talk about movies from the last couple years and speculate on how they will be regarded in the next couple years. For this episode, I brought John back to talk about another A24 movie. This one was released, I believe, last spring. I think spring of 2022. And it is a movie called Men, written and directed by Alex Garland, starring. Who is this movie starring? Who is this movie starring again?
It's the girl from I'm thinking of ending things.
Oh shit, that is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize that. Starring Jesse Buckley, Rory Kinnear, and that's pretty much the only two actors of this movie. There's like one other person in the movie
I think
that
there are four. No, I think there are five people total.
5 people total.
I think so.
There's the boyfriend, the girl, and then the guy who plays like every role.
Yeah.
Um.
But then there's her friend.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
That's right.
There's a lady cop that she talks to.
That's right.
So
So this movie is really weird. When this movie came out, it was pretty divisive. When it came out, people didn't didn't really like it that much. I mean, it holds a 69% right now on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's like just barely known as like fresh. Um, so I guess what the first thing I want to ask, because we haven't even talked about it yet, is
yeah,
what did you think of this movie?
I had not seen this movie at all. I didn't know pretty much anything about it besides the like kind of lots of characters are played by the same guy. And like when it came out, several friends of mine saw it and were like, "Oh, that was disappointing."
Mm.
After watching it today, I fucking love this movie.
Really? Okay,
I
okay.
love this movie. You know, it's kind of like a movie.
I felt you were either gonna love this movie or be like, "What the fuck did I just
Yeah,
watch?"
yeah.
So,
You put me onto this
mhm,
a couple days ago. I wouldn't have watched it if you had not said something.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I thought it fucking crushes. It's like the first half is like pretty, and you know, I like movies that are quiet and like
mhm,
a character kind of exploring an environment. And I
yeah,
thought I liked the tone. You know, it was kind of creepy.
yeah,
And then when shit really starts cracking, um I was on the edge of my seat
yeah,
from like
dude.
the last whole like 50 minutes of the movie are so intense, you know.
Mhm.
And there is some of the most wild shit.
It's
There's some stuff in this movie that I have not seen
it's
at
a weird
all.
movie. So I actually saw Men in theaters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember it was. I don't remember if it was opening day, but it was like a day or two after it had come out in theaters, and I went by myself, watched it. It was me and one other person in this theater. They did not like it.
Yeah.
I didn't know who they were. They were just like, I remember walking out of the movie and they were just like, and I looked at them. They looked at me and they were just like, and
It's not for
and
everyone.
and it's not. And I mean, the last scene of this movie is interesting to say the least visually.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
I'll say.
it's a movie that like on the surface it's the very clear takeaway is, men are awful. You know,
There's a little bit of that for
but
sure.
there is, I think there's a little bit more in the movie than just men are awful.
Yeah, no.
Um I I absolutely loved this movie. I remember when I got out of it, I was very like I didn't know how I felt. I had to like
Yeah.
sit with it because I was just sort of like I wasn't sure what to expect. Like it's Alex Garland, so like or Garland, so like I knew that
Did you like his previous movies and
um
like The
I'm
things he's written.
I as a writer, I like him a lot more than as a director. Like I'm not a very big fan of Ex Machina.
Hmm.
Annihilation, I think visually looks really cool. I think the story's kind of not the strongest. Um, but yeah, like he did he write and direct um 28 days? No,
No,
he wrote 28 Days Later, which is one of my favorite zombie movies of all time. Um he
I think that was
wrote
directed by like the train spotting
no,
guy.
that's Danny Boyle. Um
I
Danny
think I'm
Boyle.
right
What?
about what I just said.
Oh, wait, did he
I
direct?
think Danny
Oh,
Boyle
yeah,
did
yeah,
direct
yeah. I think he directed it.
28
Yeah.
Days Later.
My bad. I for some reason I thought
He
you said
wrote it.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Dread,
Oh yeah.
he wrote Dread, and then he also kind of like shadow directed that movie
Hmm.
because there's like a lot of behind the scenes like drama going on with that movie. So as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, I think he's one of the best writers in Hollywood. I
Wow.
think he's like super original. I think, again, when you look at
Yeah.
his credits on IMDb, it's like he's an amazing writer. Um, so I forgot that he wrote The Beach too. Um,
I don't know that one.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Um, it's a weird movie, but
Yeah.
he's a weird filmmaker. Um, so I guess then the next question would be, um, well, actually, let's get into the performances really quickly because in a movie with
Yeah.
really two lead performances and then two kind of supporting character roles, the two actors in this movie are fucking insane. Like they kill it.
What's
The
what's the name of the guy who plays everybody?
Rory Kinnear.
Yeah. Rory Kinnear kicks ass.
Yeah.
Of all the characters he plays, I like the kind of the almost the main one. Like he's the
Like the owner
the
of the
owner of the
house. Yeah.
yeah.
I liked him. I think
The
my
priest
favorite
I like
character.
too.
I was about to say the priest was my
Yeah.
favorite character of his. I also did like the young boy version of him that wears
Yeah,
the
the
mask.
mask.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
but
he kills it.
yeah.
There. I if I didn't know that he played every character, like I went in knowing that.
Hmm.
There are several characters in this movie who I don't think I would have like clocked as
Oh
being the
no,
same guy as,
definitely not.
like the bartender.
I was gonna say the bartender for sure. I wouldn't have thought.
Right.
Um, the even the first time we see the naked version of him that's like running around.
Yeah.
The first time you see him, I didn't think that was him. I thought it was a different guy.
Right.
He looked
Yeah.
very different. Um,
Yeah. I actually didn't know that. I wasn't positive whether or not that was
yeah,
him
yeah, that's
either.
him. So I mean, he's amazing, and then Jessie Buckley she's, I mean, obviously the entire movie is resting on her. Um,
Hmm.
and she gives such a like emotional, like empathetic performance. Like I feel so bad for her pretty much throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
From like from her
She's
from
got a rough one.
from her horrible piece of shit boyfriend to the many faces of Rory Kinnear that she sees.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, this poor woman does not catch a break. Um,
No, it's definitely the what we see her go through.
is rough.
I wouldn't want that for
No,
myself.
no, I mean she's essentially living in like her own version of hell at that point.
Yeah.
Um, and then I guess the other like supporting character is her piece of shit boyfriend who we see um accidentally kill himself. Um, which is interesting, which visually is oddly probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie. Just on a
What
visual standpoint,
specifically?
when he's like
Yeah.
falling slow mo, and you see him and you see her like watching him fall,
Yeah.
and just like you can see sort of like the confusion and shock and terror and like both of their performances in that moment.
Yeah. He
Um,
does falling out of a building pretty well.
very well,
Yeah, he has a good face for
very well. And
that.
and again, the lighting, I mean, the cinematography in general of Men, I think is absolutely like breathtaking. I think it's a just a
Yeah.
visually, it's a gorgeous looking movie.
Yeah, absolutely. There's like a lot of really fun imagery
Mm.
going on. And yeah, beautiful stuff too. In the opening, yeah, we get these beautiful landscapes and this luscious environment that she's in.
Mhm.
Almost too green at some
Oh yeah,
points, but
the tree scene is
the
again
tree scene.
is another one where like all like the
Oh, where
yeah,
the
like
apples all
apples and
fall.
stuff like keep like falling and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, again, on a visual standpoint, especially in the theater, like on a big screen, that's such a beautiful looking scene.
hmm
Um, yeah, they Alex Garland or whoever the DP on this movie was, like did a great job of just setting up certain shots because it's not like a very flashy movie, I would say, but it's like I would say compared to movies like Annihilation or Ex Machina, it's not as flashy as those. Um, but it's I think it's a movie that it like there's a couple of shots that just look like paintings. One being like
yeah,
the tree with like the apples and stuff all
yeah.
around it. Um, yeah, like I think it's a beautiful movie, but I don't think this movie is going to be regarded as a classic by people.
Why not?
I
What about this movie do you think is gonna be like inaccessible to the average viewer?
I think even for an A24 film, this is pretty tough to get into, even for A24, which is known as being a little bit more of the inaccessible type of stuff. Uh,
This one's not for everyone. It's
no,
not a crowd pleaser.
not no. Like I would say, like First Reformed is more accessible than this movie is.
These are they're both a little tough to get into. This is a movie where I think about halfway through the movie, our character is kind of like being stalked, and then it's man would be
Like
like, oh,
harassed, yeah,
what's that?
like harassed and
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
all the different men in this town played by the same character are all being weird to her.
Hmm.
And it's just this super hostile environment. She was supposed to go on a relaxing mood, but then at the halfway point, this movie just dives into insanity. There's no more like logic of like it's not the real world anymore. We go
Right,
into like a supernatural, this is outside of reality.
right.
And that's where we spend the whole rest of the movie is in this kind of nightmare land. It's kind of like it reminded me of like Freddy Krueger.
A
And
little
it kind
bit.
of reminded me of Mandy. Movies that just exit reality and are just like total terror from that point on.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things where it's like I think that is what makes this movie amazing, and
Hmm.
also probably what's gonna turn a lot of people uh off.
I would agree. It's a movie that definitely does a really good job of uh uh, it makes me feel just like very unsafe. Like no matter where this woman goes, whether it's in the house, out of the
Hmm.
house, to the cops, to a pub, wherever, like she is not safe.
Yeah.
Um, and I think they're like I feel like and maybe it's because of just that final scene that I think is sort of what'll keep a
Yeah.
lot of people away from this movie.
If they can make it to that.
Yeah, honestly,
It already gets
it gets
you got to
weird.
get through a lot to get through that, and you got to
Yeah,
get once you get there. Oh my god, you're probably a freak already if you make it to the end.
I mean, kind of. I think that but I think that anyone watching the movie would be like, all right, I get what's going on. I get what's going on. And then they get to the end where this guy basically is just like rebirthing himself over and over and over
That shit made me feel weird.
and over. It made me feel very gross. It made
I
me
like
feel very
looked away
weird.
from the screen a couple times. I was like looking up
Yeah, he
above
just
the TV.
kept rebirthing.
Yeah, that shit is disgusting. And also kind of beautiful. You know, there were moments in that scene where I was like, I can't believe like when he opens his mouth and the feet are coming out of his
Mhm.
mouth. I was just like, this is kind of I love
Oh,
this.
it's crazy how
You
they did
know?
it. Like it was just like the body
Yeah.
horror sci-fi element of it was so, I mean, it was really cool and it was very well executed. But I do think that like a lot of people, I think even a lot of like say pretty big horror fans and stuff are probably gonna watch this movie, and once they get to that part, are probably gonna check out.
I don't know how you could.
I
I,
guess fair
if
enough.
that's happening in my home, I'm not checking out. But yeah, no, it's like this movie would probably upset my mom.
Yes,
I don't think
for
she
sure.
would like it. Actually, she might, but
I
I
know
think
for
many
sure my
many moms
parents,
wouldn't like this movie
my mom would not like
or
this movie.
dads.
My dad would not
I
like this
think dads
movie.
even less probably.
My parents in general, my entire family would hate this movie. They would have no interest in this movie.
I watched it with my brother and we were screaming with delight the whole time.
Well, okay, but you and your brother seem to like a lot of the same.
Yeah, we're into this sick shit.
Yeah, my brothers aren't into any sick shit. I'm the only freak in my family. But uh, I just I don't know. Like I don't again, I love the movie. I do think that in the next couple of years, like the next decade, I think it'll get looked at differently, and I think more people are going to kind of come around to it.
Mhm.
So maybe it'll reach like a cult classic
Yeah,
status. I don't think like I don't think people are going to look at this and be like, "Oh man, it's weird this movie didn't make as much money as Barbie did."
right,
Like I don't
right.
think that's going to happen. But I could see people watching Men and being like, that's kind of cool. We should watch like The Lighthouse or something afterwards now.
Right.
Like it seems like, weird, fucked up sort of movie.
Yeah.
Um, and again, I think it has a big social message that kind of beats you over the head, but at the same time is like just sort of like artsy and ambiguous enough to not like
I never felt this is kind of like funny. Like two men decode the movie Men by made by a
yeah.
man. Um
Yeah.
but um I never felt like the movie was like um being like obnoxious or like pushing some kind of message on me. Um it I felt like when the movie had several kind of interesting insightful uh points in it. Like I think one of my favorite thing about the dynamic between her and all the men
Hmm.
is this reoccurring situation where she's like a really inactive character. Like there aren't a whole lot of scenes where she like does much besides goes to a place and then like
Oh,
something will happen that
yeah.
she reacts to. She's kind of always on the defense or reacting to things.
Yeah.
And but every character that she interacts with is acting like, she'll start a conversation with somebody and they'll be like, why are you being such an asshole?
Right.
The her boyfriend kills himself, because he's like an abusive partner,
Right.
and then he's using, he's calling her like this piece of shit, that she's ruining his life and
Hmm.
he's gonna kill himself.
And then he hits
And
her.
yeah, yeah, right. And the priest has this little dialogue about like how much power she holds over him,
Mhm.
um because of this mental thing. um that was one of my favorite aspects of the movie is this reoccurring problem that she's in, where she's pretty much innocent and hasn't done anything to anybody,
Hmm.
and there's this just some crazy man telling her she's evil.
I,
That
I do think it's another thing that I kind of like about the movie that it, in a weird way, doesn't like show you, but you kind of see it is the fact that like this woman holds like a lot more like power than like she realizes. Like
mm,
she's very like fragile around like the Rory Kinnear in all of his many different faces, but like at the same time she's like she holds like a strange power over Rory Kinnear's character, whichever one he's playing. Like whether it's the
mm,
priest, whether it's the child, whether it's like the weird naked man running around. It's like she clearly has like she could clearly stop like whatever is happening and basically like
I don't know about that.
but because but she doesn't but like she doesn't like to me as like a viewer it's
Mhm.
like you could take control of these situations but be like because she is fragile because she has been like beaten down and hurt and everything so much that like I don't even think she realizes her like own power until
Mhm.
the end of the movie when this guy like keeps like rebirthing himself and she's just like
Yeah,
watching.
right.
um which again I think is another really cool thing of like this like power that she has that she doesn't realize that she has.
That I see her as a much more. I don't see her character as having a whole lot of power. Um, like at the very last kind of interaction she has in the movie is with her, the ghost of her dead lover.
Yeah.
You could kind of say, um, and he's him and all the other ghostly men that are torturing her. She sits down next to him and she says, "What do you want?"
Hmm.
And he says, "For you to love me." And it's like, to me it's like, oh, there's the choice. I
Yeah.
could keep running from this horrific monster, or I could love it. It's To me it's like, what kind of choice is that?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a power to me.
No.
It's like she's in this never ending hell where she just has to choose either uh love this monster thing, or be hated by it. And even when we see it at the start of the movie before the
Hmm.
boyfriend's killed himself, even when she's choosing to be with the person, or when she
Right.
is with the person, that's still hell.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. I mean yeah, I mean as we said, she is pretty much living in her what I would assume hell is for her. Um yeah.
I love this actress. Oh,
She
she's
was so
really good.
great.
I like her facial
She
expressions a
was
lot.
great. She was so expressive.
Yeah.
Again, like another scene that I really like is it was in like the marketing and stuff for the movie a lot where like she walks through the tunnel and like she kind of makes that like little noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
I love that
that was a
aspect of it.
great scene.
Yeah.
And just I mean, and again, I remember watching it in the theater and just being like, this just looks beautiful. Like
Hmm.
that huge dark tunnel with like all like the greenery around it and everything. Oh my god.
Hmm.
Looked so great.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I mean I really love this movie. Um it I had to sit with it and then I had to watch it like a second time to
Yeah.
really be like, all right, do I like this movie or am I just sort of like perplexed by it like I am with like a movie called like Inland Empire, which is like
Mm.
is a movie that I can't decide if I love that movie or
That's
I'm
is that
just
David Lynch?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I haven't seen that one.
the weirdest movie I've ever seen.
Hmm.
Hands down, that is the weirdest movie I've ever seen. Um, but Men is a good movie, and I do think that in the next 10 years it'll be again, I don't think it'll be regarded as a classic, but I do think it'll kind of reach sort of that cult classic status.
It's no Ghostbusters.
It's no Ghostbusters. I don't.
Oh, I want to mention a prop in this movie that to me, this prop that they have created is a classic.
Hmm.
Will it be a classic? Yes, this prop is. Um, we're in spoiler mode.
Yeah.
There's a scene where somebody reaches their hand through a letterbox in a door, and she stabs through the arm of this person, and then they pull their arm out, and it splits it into two
Yeah.
half arms. And the bad guy for the rest of the movie is walking around with two, his arms split in two. And there's one point where he like puts either side of the arm around her neck. They
Yeah.
are in love with this thing. There's like
Yeah.
30 minutes of this movie where that little hand thing dominates the screen.
It was a
That
good
to
effect.
me, that's a classic.
It was a great effect.
I don't think this movie is gonna be like. I mean, the will it be a classic question to me almost always boils down to, for some people, yeah. Now that this movie's in my life, it's a classic for me. But I don't think this is gonna be, there's not gonna be like a parade for this movie ever.
No.
This is a weird one that is for the weirdos. But I think it will definitely have a appreciation throughout the years.
Yeah, I think it again, I
It could
think it's
fade
a
away.
movie. See, I think it's a movie that over the years, I think more and more people are going to gravitate towards it, especially because of the message that is kind of behind it. I do think a lot more people are going to, as time goes on and our society hopefully
Hmm.
gets better, I think people are going to gravitate towards a movie like this.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so I do think it'll be a like in the next couple of years, I think in terms of especially A24 movies, I think it'll garner like that A24 classic
Yeah.
kind of thought where like, I don't think it'll be like the level that like say like Hereditary has reached, but I
No, it's
do
it's
think
already not
no,
there.
but I do think it'll reach maybe something around like that like American Honey kind of level, right? Like as popular as like American Honey got, I think
Okay,
Men will
yeah.
kind of get to that level as
Yeah.
well. Um,
I mean, it's a movie that tons of people know about already.
oh yeah,
It's a most people that like today at work, I mentioned this to all my coworkers, and like everyone had heard of it but had not seen it.
okay,
This is a movie that people do are aware of.
right,
So I'm sure it'll have some sort of a cultural significance, but
yeah.
yeah, it's not Ghostbusters.
No, it's not. I do think it'll again. I do think people will like it. I do think it's worth a watch, even if you.
Fuck yeah, man!
I
This
think
movie is
yeah.
balls to the walls. Oh my god, this movie has everything. This movie has shit that you haven't seen.
It definitely has shit that you have not seen. Yeah,
This movie
that
has a guy cutting his face open and putting leaves in it, and then he gives birth to himself. And you see
over
a close up of his like,
his
what do you
his
call that?
his bussy.
Yeah, yeah. You see lots of pussy near
you
the end.
see you see a
Bleeding
whole
pussy,
you see a whole lot of
pussy pussy. You see it all.
yeah.
You get
Um,
down with nature.
you're very down with
This is a
nature.
movie to trip to. This is a movie to do like a strip of acid
This
to.
would definitely be a good movie, I think, to trip to. I think it would be a fun
Oh
movie to
my
trip
god.
to.
That'd be torture.
I don't
I don't
know. I don't know. People that are like, oh no, that movie would freak me out. Really? I feel like during like the man giving birth to himself scene over and over, I feel like I would laugh if I was like tripping and watching that.
if I'm on acid, I want to watch like flowers growing on a time
I
lapse.
mean, I mean, yeah, like I like watching like I like watching Scrubs
Yeah,
if I'm
yeah,
tripping.
right.
But like
This movie is bad. It's demonic vibes, bro.
yeah, but I don't know. I'm sure it'd be fine. Put it on, then just watch Good Burger afterwards to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I really like this movie. I think it's worth a watch. I think everyone should at least watch it once. If you don't ever want to watch it again, I can't say that I blame you. Um,
Yeah, this movie's disgusting.
it's disgusting, but I do really love it. I'm glad that you liked it. I was very
I
I
fucking
had
love
no idea what to expect.
I liked Ex Machina when it came out, and then like kind of on reflection, like I've seen it a couple times since then,
Mhm,
and I've liked it less each time. I'm not a big Ex Machina fan, but I still kind of like it.
mhm.
Annihilation, I thought was awesome when I first saw it, and then it kind of lost a little steam for me on the rewatch.
Yeah.
This is definitely my favorite project he's worked on. Alex Garland. Um, I like this more than 28 Days Later, probably. If I, that's a weird comparison to make, but
It's my favorite thing that he's
just
definitely
thinking of it,
directed. Written, I still gotta give it to 28 Days Later,
it
but
it makes me interested to see like where he goes. Like this dude is mega weird. It almost like this almost feels like some of the stuff that like that the bussy scene definitely gives big Annihilation vibes.
yeah, for
It's like
sure.
something that almost could have been in that movie.
For sure.
Um,
For
and
sure.
I'm interested to you know what? It's kind of Cronenbergian, you know?
Oh, especially that the bussy scene is
The pussy,
very
the hand
very
split.
mhm.
Um,
It's got a lot
yeah,
of just body horror to it.
yeah.
It had a lot of like strange horror too, like the scene where she's like under the water, right? There's like the right that's or am I crossing movies now?
What happens when she's
There's
underwater?
like
I
a
don't
scene where
remember.
she's like under the water and like screams, right? Or am I thinking of another?
Oh, actually, I feel like there is a moment
I'm
in
pretty
this
sure
movie
there's
like
a
that, like
scene
a
where
clean
she's like,
shot of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, which yeah, again, there's it's. I think it's a really just it's a hard movie to look away from. It's a movie that like once it's on, whether it's beautiful or disgusting, you can't really look away. It's got very much that like car crash in slow motion sort of
Mm,
feel to it.
yeah.
Which I love. Um so yeah, I definitely think everyone should watch it. I am again, I'm
I would recommend Men to anybody.
yeah.
I
Again, I'm kind of surprised that you like it.
love
Like when
it.
I told you to watch it, I was like, he's either gonna think I'm the weirdest fucking person ever for
No,
suggesting that he watches this movie,
this
or
movie is thoroughly entertaining.
it was a good one.
You know,
Yeah, it was a good one. It was definitely one of my more memorable theater going experiences.
the whole time I was like, especially when like the hand gets split open, I was sitting there like, damn, I wish I saw this in a packed theater. During the birthing scene, I was just like, damn, I feel like I missed out on like being in a room of people going like, you know,
It
freaking out. Like
did
opening night of this movie,
not.
like the premiere, that must have been lit. Oh my
This
god,
movie did not do good.
puking.
This movie did not do well at the box office. This movie did very
I'm
poorly,
actually kind of
actually.
surprised by that.
Really?
Given, well, I mean, people didn't know it was going to be like that. And
No.
Annihilation was kind of loved.
Yeah.
People like that movie.
I don't know. This movie did not do that great at the box office. It didn't have the best word of mouth. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
and this is a kind of pandemic movie too. Like it's not like quite like in the middle of lockdown or anything, but
Yeah, this was
it's
2022.
definitely like in the era where it's like we're not quite back in theaters yet.
Yeah, this
So
was
that's something to think about.
yeah, I mean this was last spring,
Hmm.
May of 2022. I don't know, again, I really liked it. Trying to think, is there anything else that you want to add about this movie? Say about this movie, let people
No,
know.
I got it out.
Um, yeah, so thanks to anyone watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We got stuff on this channel all the time. Um, John, thanks for being on another episode of Will It Be a Classic?
Thanks for having me, Mark.
I'm sure we'll have to come up with our third A24 movie here in the next couple weeks to figure out.
Do you like Killing of a Sacred Deer?
I do.
That movie rocks.
That's a weird movie. Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Lobster. Both that guy's movies are fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, he has four. There's two more. There's
Those
the
are the only
favorite,
I haven't seen the
and
favorite.
yeah,
He has a new movie coming out.
Dogtooth.
He has this new movie coming out called like Poor Things or whatever. That's supposed to be like this like weird like kind of like inspired by Frankenstein. It stars like Willem
Cool.
Dafoe, Emma Stone.
Oh,
It's like a weird
great.
fucked up
Yeah,
comedy.
interesting.
So yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll talk about that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.